raise your hand. And to those who have been here before, welcome back. And to those of all you who are new, welcome. Nice to see you here. Really quick, I'll just tell you, for those of you who might not know yet, She Geeks Out focuses on events for tech and tech-adjacent women and non-binary folks. And we also offer corporate training on diversity and inclusion. So if you want to know more, hit me up. We also have our founder and CEO here today, Rachel Murray. Doing all the things. So really, without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. I'm not going to do my whole intro spiel. I want to introduce Cheryl Porro, who's the CTO here at Thrive Global, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the company.
Great. Thank you, Lorin. And before I do that, just a little bit about my relationship with She Geeks Out. So I go way back with the founder, Rachel, who I love. And anytime I'm in Maine, I make Rachel and Mark come up to Maine and hang out with me, which they do. So thank you for that. And
we love you back.
It was always a lovely time. And I spoke at the Pivotal event last year, right? Well, it was still at Salesforce.com. So a little bit about Thrive Global. At Thrive Global, we are really trying to end the stress and burnout epidemic. So this mission is really important to me. About 5 years ago, I was suffering stress and burnout, and I reached out for help. So I'm a mom of a wonderful 11-year-old daughter, and I just reached out to my mom friends, and I was like, what do I do? And they gave me all these tips. And it was these little things. Meditate every day. You know, make sure you're sleeping. Take care of yourself. And I was able to come out of that time and then realize things in myself that I never thought were possible. And so what I love about Thrive, it's actually really real. These small changes, these little things we do, really add up and make a difference. So I'm thrilled to be here. So here in San Francisco is predominantly product and engineering, and we are hiring. Our back end is Node.js, our front end is React and Android and iOS. We're building out a machine learning and data science team, a data engineering team, and Yardley, our chief product officer, is hiring product managers and product designers.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a quick word, Yardley, before we hand it off?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're just so delighted to have all of you here. This is actually our first event here in the San Francisco office, and the first time that Arianna is here with us as well. So in many ways, this is like a very momentous event for us. And I was actually here as the first employee in San Francisco in June. And I talk about that because just look at the growth, right? In 7 months. And we just got a product out there, just the beginning of many exciting things. And for us, the key thing is to hire people that are passionate about our mission, being able to really change the world with these simple micro steps that everyone practices to begin their journey on behavioral change. And I'm just so excited to be here because I'm also a co-founder of Women in Product. And so obviously diversity is very near and dear to our heart. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Yardley. Yes. I love this power duo that we have, Yardley and I, just totally in sync. So thank you all for being here. And do, later after the talks, if you're looking and interested, come talk to us. Many of our team members are here. They're mostly hovering over there. So if you have any questions about what it's like to thrive at Thrive, you can ask them. And now I'm going to hand it off real quick because she's going to run out of time to our amazing founder and CEO, Arianna Huffington, who is just frankly such a wonderful leader, and especially as a woman trying to make things happen in my career, I love having such an amazing role model and someone I can really learn from. And she's very involved in the company, so she, is there every moment with us, and is just a real inspiration. So I'm excited for her to share. Welcome, Arianna.
So much. Thank you, Cheryl, for making this happen. I'm just really so excited to be here. We picked the day actually because I had to be in San Francisco for an Uber board meeting today. And we thought how perfect, before I have to leave unfortunately for San Diego tonight, to be able to meet you and welcome you to our space here. I was personally so excited when I was able to find Yardley and Cheryl. I must tell you the story. let me kind of backtrack a little. So I am Greek, as you can hear from the accent. This accent is for real. I was primarily a writer for many years. I've written 15 books. You have my favorite on your chair, Thrive, which is the foundational philosophy of Thrive, the company. In 2005, I founded the Huffington Post, which became a big global media company. But in 2007, I was this sort of startup founder with 2 teenage daughters, divorced, and I had bought into the myth that I just could not disconnect, I had to be always on, I just had to put myself last because, hey, you know, I was building this startup, I had these 2 kids, I had to be super mom and super founder, and I collapsed. I hit my head on my desk, I broke my cheekbone, and that was the beginning of my journey, which led to building this company. Because I realized that burnout, which is what I was suffering from, was not just my disease, it's really civilization's disease. And millions of people, especially women, are affected by it. And we are more affected by it because no matter what people say, we are unfortunately still primarily responsible for children. And also, we are more affected by workplaces which are fueled by stress and burnout. Because we have this voice in our head that I call the obnoxious roommate living in our head that puts us down, doubts us, questions us. Men have that voice too, but they can shut it up very quickly. And so I wanted to bring all these messages and the latest science that I had learned out into the world. I did it through the Huffington Post, but at some point I wanted to do it 100%. So I made the tough decision in 2016, just over 2 years ago, to leave the Huffington Post, which was hard. You know, it was a big company that I had built with my name on the door, to start all over again. But it's been incredibly exciting, and I feel we have the wind on our back because we're tapping into a moment in the zeitgeist when people are waking up and saying, there's another way to be successful and to achieve things without burning out. And also, especially last year, including at Uber, we saw the dangers of a culture that's fueled by burnout and the impact it has in terms of sexism, in terms of people operating from the worst part of themselves, partly because they're running on empty. So, 2016 we found Thrive Global in New York City, and I started the journey of finding a CTO and a Chief Product Officer, and I'm determined that there will be women. I just am. I'm tired of everybody saying you can't find women CTOs and women heads of product. It took a little longer. I remember my board kind of saying, I think you just have to hire a good man and get on with it. I said, no, I'm actually not. And I'm just so happy I waited, and I have these 2 amazing partners, and you're here. Because the truth is that women leaders are going to bring in more women. Already, we have so many amazing women working at Thrive, in design, in product, in engineering, and I feel we all need to make it a priority. If we make it an afterthought, it's not going to happen. That's why I love Geeks and Rachel and Lorin and what you've created, because it's how we're going to change the culture. And I also believe that what we're doing at Thrive is going to help that. Because when women become stressed and burned out, they often just drop out. I mean, look at the numbers of women who leave after they have children, and only 42% return full-time. We need to change these numbers. We keep saying we need to change these numbers, but we're regressing. And I think the key is that we need to end the cultures of burnout. We need to have women realize that when we take care of ourselves, We're not being selfish. It's actually what they say on airplanes, put your own oxygen mask first, and then you help someone else. So we're trying to do that in 3 ways. One is the media platform. Think of the Huffington Post without politics. What a relief. You can go to thriveglobal.com and you'll find the latest science on the topics. You'll find ancient wisdom. You'll find new role models, people in the arena who are actually doing it differently, whether it's Jeff Bezos writing about why he gets 8 hours sleep because it improves his decision making, or Selena Gomez talking about taking a digital detox. We profile people who are actually doing things. They're not chilling under a mango tree, but they're doing it in a way which makes their work sustainable. And incidentally, I'd love to invite you all to write your stories on our platform. We have thousands of contributors, we have 30 million users across our platforms. So anything you want to say, either about stories of burnout or your own life hacks, anything at all. I was talking to about burnout among doctors and women who are more likely to get cardiovascular disease because of stress.
She's right here.
Hi, you should talk to her. She's very nice. She promised to write, and I'm going to give you my email address, so you make it super easy. ah@thriveglobal.com. Send me anything you want, or send it to Cheryl, or DM me on Instagram, whatever. The important thing is to get all the stories out, because people learn through storytelling. So that's one part of Thrive. The other part is B2B. We go into companies and help them change the culture. And a lot of the multinational companies, JP Morgan, Accenture, the Hilton hotels, and startups. And we show them the ROI. We show them the return on investment. We show them how it improves productivity and reduces healthcare costs and reduces attrition. Because we believe that if you don't show the return on investment, it's just going to be seen as a nice HR benefit, and that's not going to spread. We want it to spread by showing the connection between taking care of ourselves and performance. And the third part, which is actually the heart of the company, is our product. Because we want to reach hundreds of millions of people around the world. And you can't do it just through the first 2 parts. You need the product. So we've digitized our IP. And that's why this team here is the most important. It's the beating heart of the company. And we hope you'll join us, or you'll tell your friends to join us. And the goal here is to base our product on the latest neuroscience of how behavior change happens. Behavior change happens through micro steps, small incremental daily steps that people bring into their lives. We used to think that behavior change happens through New Year resolutions, but it doesn't. The gyms are already open, largely empty, right? So if you tell yourself, I'm going to work out for an hour a day starting January 1st, by January 16th, you will no longer be working an hour a day. If you say every day, I'm going to take the steps for 5 minutes, you're gradually going to go to 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And it's a gradual process. We have over 700 micro steps. And my favorite, they're not just physical, they're about sleep, nutrition, exercise, gratitude, mindfulness, relationship with technology, a lot of things that are affecting not just our physical health, but our mental health. So I could go on forever, but unfortunately I have a flight to catch to San Diego, which leaves at 8:15, so wish me well. I have no luggage and I run. But I really want to take a couple of questions, and then you have my email, and you can email me about anything else. and I hope we'll stay in touch, and I hope you'll become part of the Thrive family. So, I have to introduce Sheila too. Sheila, would you stand? I think she's over there. Okay. So, who wants to go first? Who has a question?
No birds.
I've answered everything. Amazing. Yes. Yeah. Tell us your name too. Great question. What's the biggest impact? For me, the biggest impact is when it changes lives. When people who've been stressed and burned out all their lives suddenly find joy in their lives and their work without anything changing in the circumstances. Like they have the same job, the same husband, the same children. And somehow everything is different. Has that ever happened to you? You suddenly wake up and you are grateful that you are alive, that you have a job you love, or at least like, and you have a husband that you most of the time like, or a partner, or, life is a mix. And here's what I found, that you are much more likely to bring joy into your life when you've had a good night's sleep. Sleep deprivation is incredibly linked to depression. When you haven't picked out on sugar. I mean, I'm an 80-20 person. It's not like never sugar, but reduced. And when you've moved a little. And also, when you start the day without first going to your phone. That's a Thrive micro step. I know it seems hard, but trust me, it's so important. Even if you have 1 minute in the morning, just 1 minute, before you go to your phone, to take some deep breaths, to remember what you're grateful for, to set your intention for the day, whatever you want. 60 seconds. If you tell me you don't have 60 seconds first thing in the morning, you don't have a life. Otherwise, what it means is that you think that the world's demands on you, which is what our phone is about, is more important than what you want from your day. So the only way actually for this micro step to work is a second micro step, which is at the end of the day, pick a time that you regard as the end of your working day. It's an arbitrary moment, because the truth is that our working days never end. So you pick that moment, and the way you mark it is by turning off your phone and charging it outside your bedroom. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but you can no longer sleep with your phone. Don't worry, you don't have to do it all at once. Just say, every Thursday night, I'm going to turn off my phone and charge it outside my bedroom. Start really small. And if the next Thursday you don't do it, don't judge yourself. Get back on the horse and aim to do it the following Thursday, or do it on the Friday. You get my point? Start somewhere. The reason why it works is because when you stop sleeping with your phone, you wake up so much more rested. Even if you have your phone on airplane mode, if you wake up and you can't go back to sleep, you're going to go to your phone because it's on your nightstand. I've been there, trust me, I've done it all. So this is really how we help people on this journey. Thrive is like a guide that helps you, but a very gentle, loving guide, not a judgmental guide. Okay, this is the last question.
So how, starting your business, because I'm a new business owner.
I know, we're going to work together. Yes.
I feel like I've always been proactive, but I feel very, like I'm always in the reactionary mode, but there's all these things to do, and I almost, you know what I mean? Like, how did you, I think like a lot of entrepreneurs feel that way, like how did you get beyond that and put the reactionary mode part out and get back to proactive? Or did you even experience that? Or do you always stay proactive? I don't know.
No, I think building anything is a combination. Sometimes you react to incoming. Is that what you mean by reactive?
Yeah, reactionary, because it's like I'm going and then something happens, with HR or things come up that you don't expect, and you just feel, I feel like I'm in the weeds, and my visionary, my creative thoughts, I don't get to use. It's like,
I think for me the key is setting some boundaries. Of course, every job involves being in the weeds, handling problems you wish somebody else could handle. But as long as you preserve some sacred space to think, to connect with yourself, to connect with your best ideas. Why do you think people's best ideas are in the shower? Because they're not scrolling through Instagram. They're not kind of lost in whatever is coming at us, and we let our own wisdom come up. So that's just a lesson for all of us. It could be in the shower, it could be going for a walk, it could be meditating, it could be simply commuting without looking at your phone. Now, any number of ways. So it's not like we're ever going to have a life or a day which is entirely done the way we want it. It's more, and I want to end with this favorite quote, and if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to have so many quotes you'll be able to give a commencement speech. But my favorite quote is by Rumi. All you're going to be seeing children like the ugly son, who is 1-year-old Mason, and he also is featured on my Instagram account.
Yes, that's true.
So my favorite Rumi quote is, live life as though everything is rigged in your favor. Thank you so much. I think life is rigged in my favor here tonight.
Oh my God, that was so amazing. Hold on, I need a micro moment. All right. So, I can turn this. I'm going to have to handle the slides for you in 1 second. Thank you. I'm going to do introduction, and then I'm going to turn the slides on, and then we're going to have our next speaker. Next speaker is Alexis Croswell. She's a senior content marketing manager at Culture Amp, which is an awesome company. If you don't know, look it up. She puts her passion for writing and editing to use every day. And in her role at Culture Amp, she's responsible for a multifaceted content marketing strategy. Outside of work, you can find her exploring new places with her rescue dog, Tessa. Welcome, Alexis.
I have written 0 books, but thousands of blogs, and you will get many photos of my dog, because when Lorin first reached out to me about speaking at this event, she said, speak about anything you're passionate about, and of course, my first thought was dogs. But then I remembered that this was a networking event, and I could probably talk about something a little bit more work-focused. So when I thought about, again, what do I geek out about, it was kind of everything. I graduated from college a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago at this point, and once you leave kind of the world of academia, it's like, you're done, right? You get your job, and you move on, and there aren't a ton of kind of after-college learning opportunities presented to you on a silver platter, I might say. So being a lifelong learner and learning on the job is something that's really important to me, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. There we go. Oh, that was your first dog photo. This is my dog, Tessa. You'll see a couple of pictures of her sprinkled throughout. I think there's just like a little delay. Okay, there we go. So we'll look at a quick definition. Yes, I got it from Wikipedia. Not everything there is made up. And even if it is, we'll use it as a basis for today. The ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. So at this point, maybe just think about something that you really love to do as a kid. Like I did lemonade stands because I like to cook. Or something that you tried once just for the fun of it and had a good time. These are kind of all things that would fall under this purview. That's another picture of my dog. And this is kind of taking that definition and applying it to what it means to me. So for me, it's really about seeking knowledge, gaining skills, and embracing change, because that's the constant in all of our lives, especially out here. And this is kind of all wrapped together by the idea that learning is not confined to our childhood or to the classroom. There are things that we can do outside of work and outside of school that really can impact the way that we succeed in our professional lives. So, seeking knowledge. Go through a couple. Okay. So one of the things I think that comes up too when we think about how else can we kind of advance our skills, either professionally or personally, there's so much out there. So these are some things that I have found really helpful for me personally. I'm a really big reader, so Goodreads challenges. I don't know if has anyone heard of Goodreads?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Go Goodreads! Look at you! Goodreads has an annual challenge that you can do. You can set a goal for yourself for how many books you want to read every year. And I've been doing that for the past 3 years. And it's kind of a fun combination of like data that you would get from, let's say, a Fitbit about how many steps you take. This is like how many pages you read, and what were your favorite books, and things like that. Some email newsletters. There's so many email newsletters out there today. And I think asking yourself, like, when it comes to your inbox, are you really reading it? Is that really giving you some new information that you want to take home? For me, I really like a publication from NY Mag called Science of Us. They have really interesting headlines, and it's one that when I get, I don't like immediately delete it. Podcasts and audiobooks. Again, there's so many things out there, so just trying things out and seeing what you like. And this is something that I think for me has come really from a lot of book reading. Like, if you try something like a newsletter or a podcast or a book and it's not serving you, stop. Like, unsubscribe, put the book down. I think we have this, especially with books, a lot of times, like, compulsion to finish it because we started it. The book won't know. Number 2, gaining skills. This is more about, like, things that you can do, things that you can then, again, apply in your personal and professional life. So these are some classes that I have taken. We're so blessed out here in the Bay Area to have so many classes. And that's from things like General Assembly, where it's kind of more like structured, or just straight up like for local classes, where someone can teach you how to do backyard gardening. So I took a free improv class and ended up taking those classes for 9 months because I loved it. It was so much fun. It was like physical exercise, and it was a way to kind of be funny-ish, but also just kind of take away some of the nervousness that comes with speaking in front of people or even working on a team in the office. Like, how do you be a better team member? A lot of that is core to improv and supporting your group. A friend of mine even took through, I think it was either UC Berkeley or UCSF, a taxidermy class. There are all kinds of things out here that you can do for just no reason. And doing them is fun, and it can spark something in you. Like, you could end up doing what I did and stick with something for a long time, or you just take one class and it's, you know, a one-time payment and you might learn something just for fun. Something else that I think is important, especially if somebody kind of newer in their career, is having a mentor. This is actually my best friend from back home, Christina. And something that I think is important is that mentors don't, it doesn't have to be one person for everything. You can kind of have a non-monogamous mentor relationship. So Christina is my go-to editor. She's the person I talk to when I'm like stuck in a writing rut or need advice on a publication to reach out to. She's the person that I work through those things with. Before I worked at Culture Amp, I was an office manager and kind of trying to decide if I wanted to stay on that HR career path or go into marketing. So I worked with somebody who headed the people department at New Relic, and he helped me talk through what it was about my current role that I liked, what was missing, and helped me decide to change careers. And then having a developmental advocate, I think that's really important. It's great if this person can be your boss, someone that you do work with, to get you that on-the-skills training. But yeah, again, one person doesn't have to be everything, and I just love that picture of Christina. About embracing change, this is something that really came true for me when I first moved out to the Bay Area. So I grew up in Michigan, in the Midwest, very safe little sweet town, and then I moved out here where everything was expensive and scary. And when I was 22, I was fired from my first job. So a couple months out here living in the most expensive city, and newly out of college, didn't have a lot of confidence in my skills at the time, and I stayed out here. I worked 8 jobs, chose that year to do my taxes for the first time, which was fun. But, you know, and I told myself at the time, I'm going to look back at this in a few years and be like, oh, I learned a lot then. And then current me at the time was like, no, this is horrible. But me now, I'm like, yeah, I did learn a lot back then. And I'm glad that I didn't go back home and live with my dad. Not that that would have been a failure, but it probably would have made both of us a little nuts. So I really like this quote, which is like this 10% what happens and 90% how we react to it. I had it on my closet when I was in high school all the time. I don't know if this is a good person. I don't really know who that is. So just kind of take the quote at face value and don't Google is it that person. I think he's like a priest. I'm not sure. Again, my dog, just going with the flow. But I think this is a really important part of being a lifelong learner. I think the more that we can kind of embrace change, try new things, and when things don't work out or when things don't serve us, let them go. It makes it easier to roll with the punches. And that's it. Thank you. Are you going to introduce yourself? Oh yeah, that's weird.
I know. I was going to do it, but I'm recording.
Okay. Oh.
Do you want me to do both?
I'm going to not introduce myself, but I'm just going to be like,
Oh yeah, hold on.
I got something.
Okay.
Let me do the slide. Village. Wait, while you do the slides, I can introduce you. This is Lorin. Wait, okay, hold on. Okay, I don't know where it is. Sorry, okay. Lorin Bond, city organizer extraordinaire for Bay Area. Lorin Bond is a California girl who lived in Boston as an ambassador in the Boston Geeks Out chapter, and is now back out in the San Francisco Bay Area, still spreading the SGO love. She earned her MBA at Boston University and is passionate about helping small. Oh, hey, in the house. Hey. Okay. Cool. And is passionate about helping small organizations mature in a healthy way. She currently works at NPM Inc. and geeks out for anything related to human behavior, music, or the Golden State Warriors.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, hi. So I'm doing a talk today because one of our speakers took ill at the last moment. I don't usually come here and monopolize the spotlight. I know, you all know I'm like really shy. I don't like people. I decided, well, we could have 2, or I could do a talk for y'all, because fun. Yeah. So I'm doing maybe a weirdish talk. I talked to my mom about it last night. My mom's back there. Hi, Mom. I talked to Mom last night about, is this going to be weird? Because what I talk about was also learning, like what Alexis talked about, but a different kind of learning through experience. And that experience was with my, and really all of our family's experiences being a caregiver for my grandmother as she progressed through dementia. So I'm going to talk to you about that, because, hey, you know, let's make it personal. She geeks out. Yeah. So this is Nana.
Aww.
She's so cute. She was my mom's mom. And if I say our Nana a lot, it's because, you know, she's Nana to everyone. Also, my sister's here, so also our Nana. Also, my brother-in-law to be, my husband back there. Well, you know, and then family. So this is Nana. You can tell, I love this picture because I feel like you can tell so much about her. She was such a vibrant person. She loved books. She loved music. She loved throwing a party. She could make fun of you and in the same breath make you feel like you were the most special person she had ever met in her life. She was an educator. She talked to folks about her experience being interned during World War II for pretty much as long as I can remember. She was full of life and she was always razor sharp. Like I said, she could make fun of you really fast and also tell a story like nobody else. I loved her. She was so special to all of us, and I was no exception. She was my hero, and my friend, and my mentor, and just our Nana. And then in the early 2000s, she started to get dementia. So we went through stages, and I know this now from looking back. I don't think we knew it. I don't think I knew it at the time. Yeah. Stage 1, denial. Carrots. Why carrots? So for a long time, we really didn't want to think anything was wrong, right? Like, she would just have these little moments, like, wait, what? You know? And then she'd be okay again, and you could pretend that nothing happened. And the first time, I realized one of the early signs was with the carrots. So every year, on New Year's Day, our family throws a big old party. We cook Japanese traditional dishes. Well, not me. I just do sous chefing because I suck in the kitchen. My sister and my mom were really the ones, and they are the ones who learned from Nana, right? But at this time in the early 2000s, Nana was still guiding all of what was going on in the kitchen. And I remember there's a special way to cut the carrots for this one Japanese vegetable dish, right? And I'm like, there's a special way. Nana, what's the way to cut the carrots again? And she goes, oh, you just cut them like this. These straight little carrots over there. Ungraceful, straight carrots. And I was like, that's not right. So I said to her, no, wait, I remember you saying something about, isn't it actually angled because you're supposed to have the maximum amount of surface area for the marinade, for the dashi to soak in? And she was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, you cut it like this, right? And I was like, that was weird. This is not a thing she would forget, right? So I'm like, that was weird. Well, I'm just going to pretend that was a weird little blip and I'm going to move on, right? So at that time, we could still deny it. I could anyway. Next stage, anger. I'm sorry. One thing you have to know about Nana, she was always a huge stickler for manners. She was the quickest to tell you, like, no, don't do that, that's rude. Don't chew with your mouth open, don't talk, with food in your mouth. And so she was always this, our queen of manners until she wasn't. I remember one day, we would always encourage her, try to stay hydrated because it helps you. You feel better. You're kind of more alert, And so I was telling her, Nana, just drink this glass of water. And she hated drinking water. And I was really insistent on this one day. I'm like, drink the water, Nana, drink the water. And she was like, no, I don't want it. And I'm like, come on, this is not you. What the heck? And she goes, if I drink this water, I'll throw up. And I was like, you did not just say that to me. And I was mad. And then she spit it out. I was like, oh. So I was appalled. I was angry. I was fearful, and that all welled up. And I was just like, you need to, I can't remember what I said. I was like, that is so inappropriate. And I got so mad at her. And she went to her room and she burst into tears. And I just totally melted. But in that moment, it was all the fear and all the what the hell boiled up into anger. And it was pretty awful. I still feel really bad about it. So what was next? Rationalizing. And why is there a picture of Outlander, you might wonder? I started to try to put things into a box that I could understand. And I think we all did this to a certain extent, right? We would say to ourselves, oh, she just doesn't hold on to new memories, but all the old stuff, she's got it, right? Steel trap. Until one day she started telling me about how right after college she went off to Europe and toured around Europe. And I was in England and I was in Scotland and I saw the Stones. And I was like, Nana, right after college, like first of all, you didn't get to graduate because you were interned, and so you got married, and then you were in camp. So wait, when? And I'm still thinking like maybe she's just misplacing this in her chronology. She was like, no, I went. And I was like, what about like your family? What about Papa, our grandpa, and like, your kids? And she was like, oh, I just left them. Because I just wanted to go, and I was on an adventure. And the more she talked about it, the more I started to realize that she was pulling from this series, Outlander, of books that she loved to read. Right? Like Nana she had a racy side. But so then I was like, oh my God, this is what's happening. This is not her life at all. And this is not like a thing where she still has all her old memories intact. She's like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. There is no box. You can't rationalize the dementia. So stage 4 for us, I talked about this with Mom last night, was really loss. And this was really the realization of where she was at. So this is a picture of Nana and Papa, our grandparents, our mom's parents. And you have to understand something about their relationship. It was so special. They had been together since they were in college. They got married so that they wouldn't be separated when they were interned. They had all these children together and struggled through all these hard times, and they would still have so much fun together, even when they were kind of old. They traveled all around. So when he died, it hit us all really hard. And she still used to always tell stories about him, because she missed him. Like the one about how she was dating this football player and Papa was like, listen, are you going to marry this girl? Because I am. Chase that dude right away. Then one day, she's progressing through her dementia, and one day Mom asked her, what do you remember about Hike? That's his name. And she said, oh, I didn't know him very well. Which, whoa, right? That was really a moment where we had to realize how much we had lost of her. Here was this person she spent almost her entire life with. And, always talked about, and he was gone. And she, that whole part of her life for her was gone. And there was no denying it anymore. So stage 5, acceptance. This is when we were able to really understand how much had happened, how much change she had gone through, and that the best thing we could do was just love her as she was. The time that I really realized this was one night. I was talking to my mom and dad. It was kind of late at night. I was in their room. We're a close family. And Nana comes wheeling back with her walker from her room, and we're like, are you okay? It's in the middle of the night. She's usually fast asleep. She goes, I just came to say goodbye, because I've had such a wonderful time with you here in Japan, and tomorrow I'm going back to America, and I don't know when I'll see you again. Now mind you, we're in my parents' house in Berkeley, right? She hadn't been in Japan in years and years and years. She's like, and I just don't know when I'll see you again. I just want to say goodbye. And Mom and Dad and I are all like, and I just said, oh, you know what? Actually, it's just fine. We're all going back to California together in the morning. So don't worry, you don't have to say goodbye. And she was like, we are? And I was like, yeah, don't worry, come on, let's go back to bed. Mom already packed all your things. You don't have to worry about anything. She's like, oh my goodness, okay, I'm so happy. to bed, and she was just happy as a clam. And it was like, that was the first time for me. There was no moment of, let me try to bring you back to reality. Let me try to help you snap out of it. It was just like, how can I give you the most joy in this moment? And it didn't, like, none of that really mattered. All that mattered was giving her something good. And we did. So that's why I put this picture of her with me here at my wedding, because, you know, that was when you just learn, like, just hug her as she is. And lastly, I just want to close by saying, like, what I really learned in the end from all of this was that going through all these stages was awful. It was really hard. It's still hard looking back on it now, right? It's really hard, it's sad, it's awful. You're losing a person gradually, piece by piece, right in front of you. And you love them so much, you want to scream, you want to cry, and you always want to wish it wasn't happening. But in the end, if you're lucky, you end up where you started, and that's with all the same love that you felt for this person from the beginning. And all the gratitude for having this amazing person in your life. And even though she changed a lot, the love is the same, and you get to keep that. That's it. Raffle prizes will cheer us up. Seriously, thank you for letting me give that talk, because, like, I've never done that before. We haven't really, you know, we've talked about it a little bit amongst ourselves, and I've never been able to share this journey with anyone before, so thank y'all for giving me this space.